In the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, on a crisp October morning in 2023, the peace was shattered by a voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Stop moving like that on my street," bellowed Susan Harper, her words slicing through the calm like a blade. She stood on her flawless lawn, finger jabbing toward 5-year-old Lila, who was inching her way to the mailbox with careful, deliberate steps. Lila froze, her wide hazel eyes clouding with confusion and fear. "Mommy," she whispered, voice quivering. Aisha Malik, Lila's mother, burst out of their new home, her years as an FBI agent screaming one truth. This woman was trouble, dangerous trouble. "What's the issue?" Aisha asked, stepping in front of her daughter like a shield. Susan's face flushed crimson. "Look at how that girl moves. It's unnatural, disruptive. This is a respectable neighborhood, and we don't tolerate oddities here." The Maliks had moved to Willow Creek just 4 days earlier, drawn by its tree-lined streets, top-rated schools, and a nearby park. Aisha had thought it the perfect place to raise Lila, whose neurological condition made her movements slow and measured. She'd hoped for kind neighbors. She'd been dead wrong. "My daughter has a medical condition," Aisha said, her voice steady despite the fury bubbling inside. "She's not harming anyone." Susan scoffed. "She's harming my property values. I'm the HOA president, and I set the standards here. High standards. Your daughter doesn't meet them." Lila peeked from behind her mother's legs, her dark curls framing a face that held the sweetest smile. Her condition forced her to think through every step, but never stopped her from living with joy. "Why's the lady yelling, Mommy?" she whispered, tears brimming. "Some people have tiny, bitter hearts, sweetheart," Aisha replied, her glare locking on Susan with barely restrained rage. Susan laughed, a cold, joyless sound. "I have a practical heart. This neighborhood was flawless before you showed up with your issues." "Issues?" Aisha's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "What did you just say?" Mrs. Lynn, the gentle elderly woman next door, stepped outside, drawn by the commotion. "Susan, what's this nonsense?" she asked. "I'm handling a violation," Susan declared, as if addressing a courtroom. "That child's abnormal walking is disturbing our pristine sidewalks." Mrs. Lynn frowned. "What's wrong with a child walking?" "Everything," Susan exploded. Her slow, clumsy steps aren't normal. Normal kids fit in. They don't disrupt civilized society. Across the street, 16-year-old Ethan Chun, walking his Labrador, overheard the shouting. Susan was infamous for her petty rules, but this was a new low. "Since when is it a crime for a kid to walk?" he called out. "Since I said it disrupts harmony," Susan snapped, her voice shrill. Ethan pulled out his phone, instinct telling him to record. Susan spotted it and lost it. "Put that away. This is HOA business." Ethan shrugged. "Public sidewalk. Everyone can see." He hit record. Mrs. Lynn cut in sharply. "Susan, watch your mouth. There's a child here." Susan's gaze fell on Lila, and instead of softening, her face twisted with venom. "That child needs to learn rules. Real rules. Not everyone gets to do what they want just because they're different." Mrs. Patel, another neighbor, paused her gardening to listen, stunned. "You're not seriously attacking a child for walking?" Susan's eyes gleamed. "I'm deadly serious. I've built this neighborhood's reputation for perfection. One flawed family won't ruin a decade of work." "Flawed?" Aisha's voice was ice, her FBI training the only thing keeping her from snapping. "I called her what she is," Susan said, unashamed. "Defective. Genetically inferior. Pick a term." The word defective landed like a slap. Neighbors gasped. Even Susan's usual allies, shifting uncomfortably. That afternoon, Aisha took Lila to the community park, determined to let her daughter feel normal. Lila's careful steps didn't dim her delight as she eyed the swings. But Susan was there, blocking the entrance like a vulture. "I made it clear this morning," she said, voice dripping with malice. "This park is for normal kids." Aisha stood firm. "This is public property. Lila has every right to be here." Susan smirked. "It's community property under my HOA rules." I've set new safety standards. No kids with mobility issues. They're a liability. Aisha's blood ran cold. Liability? Susan leaned in. Her unsteady movements could cause accidents. What if she scares other kids with her struggling? Lila's soft voice broke through. Mommy, I want the swings. Aisha's heart cracked. I know, baby. Susan stepped closer. Not happening. This park is for healthy kids who play properly. Another parent, Maria Lopez, spoke up, horrified. You're being cruel to a little girl. Susan whirled on her. Maria, wasn't your mailbox slightly crooked last month? That's a finable offense. Maria paled, silenced by Susan's power to make life hell. Anyone else? Susan challenged. Parents avoided her gaze, ushering their kids away. Thought so, she sneered. Now get that child out. No, Aisha said, voice like steel. Susan's facade shattered. Look at her. Her movements are wrong, unnatural. She doesn't belong. Ethan, now at the park, recorded every word. What's wrong with you? He shouted. Susan laughed hysterically. What's wrong is them, bringing their genetic mess into my perfect world. Lila sobbed. Why does she hate me, Mommy? Aisha knelt, hugging her. She's sick inside, baby. Susan's rage peaked. I'm not sick. She's the problem, can even walk right. Probably can't think right either. Your whole family's defective. Aisha stood, her training kicking in. Stay away from my daughter. Susan smirked, stepping closer. Or what? I'm the law here. Your freak kid doesn't belong. Ethan's phone caught it all. You just called a 5-year-old a freak? Susan doubled down. She's a genetic error, a walking flaw. That evening, Aisha found 3 violation notices on her door. $75 for unsupervised disabled child in common areas. $50 for disturbing walking patterns. $100 for failure to control abnormal movements. She stared, incredulous. Susan was fining Lila for existing. The next morning, Susan waited by their mailbox, smug. Fines unpaid. Aisha held up the papers. These aren't legal. Susan's smile was chilling. They're whatever I say. I run this place. Your family doesn't fit our standards of normalcy. Mrs. Lynn overheard, horrified. How can you say this about a child? Susan's voice rose. Her defective movements remind everyone of failure. Defects are contagious, they lower standards. Ethan, passing by, recorded again. You're unhinged, he said. Susan snapped. I'm protecting perfection. That child's a virus, spreading imperfection. Isha est instance crime de danger. What do you mean, removed? Susan's smile was pure malice. Problems have solutions, even genetic ones. That afternoon, Aisha took Lila to the park again, refusing to let fear win. Susan was there, blocking their path. She's banned, she hissed. Her struggling is painful to watch. Maria whispered support, but Susan's threats silenced others. Lila cried. Why does she call me bad names? Aisha hugged her. She's broken inside, sweetheart. Then Susan crossed the line. In a burst of hatred, she shoved Lila hard. The push was meant to humiliate, not kill, but Lila's condition left her defenseless. She fell, her head striking the park's concrete edge with a sickening crack. Blood pooled as Lila lay still, her breathing faint. Aisha's scream tore through the air. Susan froze, pale. I just push her lightly. Normal kids don't fall like that. Ethan's phone captured it all. Parents rushed over Mrs. Lynn dialing 911 with trembling hands. Maria checked Lila's pulse, whispering, she's alive, but barely. Paramedics arrived, their faces grim. Severe head trauma. Possible skull fracture. As they loaded Lila into the ambulance, Susan stammered, it's not my fault she's defective. Aisha's voice was raw. Stay away from us, you monster. In the hospital, Lila fought for her life. Dr. Nguyen delivered crushing news. Severe brain injury. The next 72 hours are critical. Aisha sat by Lila's bed, guilt and rage warring inside her. She called her FBI partner, Jamal Carter. I need everything on Susan Harper. Jamal's voice hardened. Someone hurt Lila? You'll have a dossier in 2 hours. The file exposed Susan's reign of terror. Years of harassment, dropped battery charges, and chilling online posts about genetic purity. She was a predator, and Lila was her latest target. Detective Rachel Kim reviewed Ethan's video, her jaw tight. This is attempted murder, aggravated assault, and a federal hate crime. Her words prove she targeted Lila's disability. Susan's arrest came at dawn. She protested. It was an accident, but her neighbors, long silenced by fear, cheered her downfall. Mrs. Lynn shouted, "Good riddance." The community she'd terrorized was free. Lila's story went viral, Justice for Lila sparking global outrage. A GoFundMe raised $250,000 for her care. Cards poured in from children worldwide. On day 3, Lila's eyes opened, finding Aisha's face. "Hi, baby," Aisha whispered. "You're going to be okay." Susan's trial was a reckoning. Aisha testified, voice steady. "My daughter relearns how to walk because Susan decided she didn't belong." Ethan's video left jurors in tears. Witnesses exposed Susan's cruelty, targeting autistic kids, threatening families. The jury took 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts: attempted murder, assault, hate crimes. Susan got 25 years, no parole, and $1.5 million in damages. Lila's recovery was grueling, but her spirit shone. She relearned to walk, her giggle echoing in the renamed Lila's Haven Park, now accessible to all. Mrs. Lynn, the new HOA president, erased Susan's rules. Ethan founded a foundation to fight disability discrimination, sharing Lila's story nationwide. A year later, Lila took her first unaided step, clutching her stuffed bunny. "Look, Mommy, I'm walking." Kids ran to her with flowers from the garden planted in her honor. Aisha cried, watching her warrior daughter transform a community with her courage. As they walked home, past signs reading, "All kids welcome," Lila said, "I love our neighborhood now." Aisha smiled. "Me too, sweetheart." Susan's name became a warning. Don't let hatred win. But Lila's name became a beacon of resilience, proof that love and courage can overcome evil. What do you think? Should Susan have faced even harsher punishment? Could the neighbors have stopped her sooner? How would you protect a child like Lila in your community? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that spark real change.